and welcome to today's webinar, where we're going to be talking about the challenge of managing multiple marketplaces. I'm Bas. I'm the VP of International at InstaLeap. I'm very excited to talk to you all today. And I want to thank everyone that has joined us. It's very good to see that so many industry professionals have joined today's session to talk about a topic that is increasingly relevant for grocery retailers, which is how to manage efficiently multiple marketplaces while maintaining operational efficiencies for pickers and store managers in the store. And we are very fortunate that we have two fantastic guests with us today. We have Bosco. He's a digital marketing specialist from this, and he will be sharing with us today how he is managing multiple marketplaces in his operation in Serbia. And then we have Francisco Ferreira. He's the quick commerce and business development manager in Continente, a valued InstaLeap customer, and he will give a bit of context today on how Continente has implemented solutions in order to tackle these type of challenges. Guys, I want to start with a brief introduction. Bosco, I'm gonna pass over the word first to you to briefly introduce yourself to everyone today.
Well, thank you, Bas. First, I want to say thank you for this opportunity. My name is Bosco Vasiljevic. I'm from Serbia, a company called DIS. My current position is a digital marketing specialist, and I manage also all Q-commerce channels inside of the company. I've been around in this industry for about a decade now, and I believe that the industry is changing with the everlasting technology and the needs of the customers. So I believe that this webinar is a great experience for all of us to find out more and to just share our experience to the rest of the market.
Amazing. Thanks for the intro, Bosco. Lots of experience under your belt, so excited to discuss these topics with you today. Francisco, do you want to quickly introduce yourself as well?
Yes, sure. My name is Francisco. I work at Continente. For those who don't know Continente, it is the food retail brand of MC Sonae. It has nearly 40 years of history, and it was the first hypermarket chain to establish itself in Portugal. Currently has more than 350 stores. I joined MC Sonae on April 2022 to manage the Q-commerce business in Continente stores, from supermarkets to hypermarkets, and specifically our partnerships with Uber Eats and Glovo. And currently I am also responsible for managing our own Q-commerce solution that is called Kiko Continente. It is a pleasure for me to be here with you, and thank you for the invitation.
Amazing. Thanks, Francisco. Thanks for the intro. Cool. Hey, before we get into today's conversation and all of the topics that we have set for the agenda of today, let me quickly introduce InstaLeap as well for the people that are maybe new today or haven't heard of InstaLeap yet. InstaLeap is a SaaS platform that's designed to help grocery retailers to automate and optimize their digital channels in a more effective way. So what we're doing is we're helping grocery retailers aggregate orders from multiple demand generation channels such as Wolt, Glovo, Uber Eats, and their own e-commerce channels, like Francisco is mentioning in Continente, and streamline the operations. And while we're doing this, we're focusing on two main things. Number one is creating operational efficiencies for retailers, so making sure that pickers and delivery guys are more efficient than they are today. And two, while we're doing this, is also offering an amazing customer experience towards the end customer. Having that said, let me give a bit more context on the first topic that we're going to be discussing today, which is managing multiple marketplaces. And something that we've seen in the industry is that this has become Very, very challenging, especially because online grocery shopping has increased a lot over the past few years, and it's not only important to have a presence on these type of platforms, but also important to make sure that your operation is as streamlined as possible. And I think what we've seen in the industry is that lots of grocery retailers are facing challenges, such as increased pick times, picking the wrong items and sending them towards customers, not having a unified substitution process in place, slow onboarding of new pickers. So these are just a few challenges that we've been facing, or we've been hearing with other grocery retailers. And Bosco, I'm going to start with you today. How do you, I know in your operation in Serbia, you're using Glovo and Volt, and I think you're using different devices for every channel. So can you give the audience a bit of context on how you're juggling around using different devices with your pickers in the stores, and what type of challenges you're facing with this setup?
Well, thank you. The challenges are numerous, actually. This is a retail from Serbia that has more than 50 stores inside the country. Most of these stores that are in urban areas have support for Glovo and Wolt services at this moment. We don't have our own delivery services yet, but our kind of local agreement with Glovo and Wolt is that we use their own devices for those services. Recently, Glovo joined up with Instaleap and provided their own, actually optimized their service by using Instaleap devices and Instaleap software, which gives us an opportunity to optimize the customer experience, basically improve the customer convenience and optimize the picker efficiency. With Volt, that is yet to come, because we also still have a separate device. So at this moment, when a picker receives an order, those are two separate orders on two different devices. Now, we all know that in retail, there's a lot of work going on, and there's a lot of people coming in, especially in urban areas. Just to pay attention on those two devices is a challenge of its own. When you have one device, that's a totally different story. You can integrate those services, and it will improve better feedback to the picker, and eventually a better service to the customer. And this is a number one challenge for us at this moment. Number two challenge is the database or the database of products that we offer to our customers. It needs to be really it needs to be correct in order for the customers to get adjacent products according to their orders, because most of the time, if you don't have an alternative product, then you'll get a cancellation of the order, and that is really hard to follow up on two separate devices also. So we recognize the potential in Instaleap when you have two services on one device, and all of these orders that are in front of your eyes, in front of one picker. So what we're doing right now is trying to find a way to integrate services from Volt to Instaleap with Glovo, and to optimize our database so we can get the best efficiency and best picking time. Also, I mean, at the end, it's all about customer convenience. If the customer's happy, everybody's happy. But the background process of it is that we have to synchronize the database, the picking time, and that's a factor that we just cannot have any influence on. But also the delivery couriers, we also have to be synchronized with them as much as we can, of course. But it's just a big factor for that one. Also, education and communication is a big factor for a positive result, and I say that for internal communication. We need to educate our pickers on the possibilities that Instaleap can provide, and basically how can they shorten the time to get the right product inside the picking time period. Also, right now, the mechanism works is if you placed an order and let's say you placed an order for Coca-Cola and something else, and we don't have that specific Coca-Cola, and you want an alternative product, maybe a Pepsi or something like that, our picker has to communicate with the customer via phone or via chat. Instantly, I think, provides a function to communicate via chat. Just the very fact that you have to communicate with the customer directly, that's a lost time in prepping time. So we know that there is an option that you can systematically offer a different product to the customer. Once they try to pick up a Coca-Cola, they will get a notification saying, hey, we don't have that at the time, but we have a Pepsi, maybe you want that too. And that way we can save us more time for the save more time and just get into that time zone of prepping time. And also our pickers can focus on other things as well. Also, something in the future, what we see as a big potential is that we would like to have dedicated pickers just for Q-commerce services, because at this point we don't have that. But it's a need, it's a necessity probably, and also it's an option. Maybe not a definitive one at this point, but for the future, yes. When you take all of those factors in consideration and synchronize them, you get a very smooth and elegant mechanism of customer delivery and customer convenience. And I believe that in the end, we together with our customers can get more out of the Q-commerce channels in Serbia. Our other colleagues in retail also have the same issues, because the industry in Serbia is not developed we don't have any differences between companies. Let's say other companies maybe have better technologies. No, we all function in the same field now, right now. And this is the challenges we all have to face. But whoever gets the first technology, of course, will get the upper hand for now. So this is something that we're actively juggling, and the challenges are pretty much endless. But at some point, you just have to draw a line and say, we will take up a new strategy and move forward in that area.
Cool. Thanks for lots of challenges to solve still in the operation. And as you mentioned, the challenges are endless. But indeed, like you mentioned, there's solutions in place in order to unify all of these orders in one combined system, and also make the work for pickers more easy than it is today, right? So cool. Thanks, Bosco. Francisco, for you, I know in Continente you've already implemented some processes and solutions in order to solve the type of challenges that Bosco mentioned earlier. Can you tell the audience a bit of the type of challenges that you were facing and how you solved those?
Sure. Well, the Q-commerce journey here in Continente began during the COVID-19 pandemic. At that time, the need for instant delivery services implementation became pretty evident for us, and I believe that for so many other markets. We at that time we established partnerships with Glovo and Uber Eats, which enabled quick implementation and response to the opportunity that we were facing at that time. Although we have relevant growth, but we faced various challenges as similar to the ones that Bosco was explaining. So we deal with different platforms from different partners. This meant having to manage order pipelines on multiple devices, adapting to different ways of interacting with those devices for order picking. And it obviously led to problems like order cancellations, late and incomplete deliveries, because the interface was not the best, or because there's a lot of complexity managing that order pipelines. Stores would close or pause their services, and this led to downtime in the marketplaces. And this all combined obviously negatively impacted the customer experience. So it was clear for us that stores would benefit from consolidating operations, as you were telling, across various channels into a single platform to ensure that the picking was uniform and the in-store operations would be cleaner. Additionally, we have manual invoicing processes, which led to long queues during peak demand periods. As you know, the peak in the demand in Q-commerce is the same the peak that we have in the stores with clients buying things physically. So that was another issue that further complicated our delivery efficiency. When we introduced InstaLeap in our operation, we were able to finally sort the operational issues by bringing all the platforms into just one space where the picker could see all the pipeline of the orders and prepare them in the single device. And we were also able to integrate the picking finish with our invoicing systems. Obviously, it took a lot of effort from the business team to deal with the change management that a decision like this required, but at the end of the journey and looking back for 3 years ago, stores reacted positively to the solution that we implemented, as it allowed them to access only one device to manage the full operation within the stores.
Yeah, cool. I think one of the things that you're mentioning, right, is like one of the biggest pains that retailers are facing right now, or actually like pickers in the operations are facing right now, is having different devices and different picking applications for different channels. And especially in an operation with Continente, where you have Uber Eats, you have Glovo, and then on top of that, you have your own quick commerce channel. It can become like very complicated. And I think some of the things that we've seen is that it obviously affects prep times, which is a very important like metric, especially if you're working around like profitability. But one of the other things as well is like it can also affect picking the wrong items or not being able to manage out of stocks or replacements in the correct way. So Bosco, for you in this Serbia, like, do you have any idea how much time your pickers are doing the picking of these marketplace orders? And do you have an understanding as well, for instance, specifically talking about replacements, how long they are managing like communication with customers? And maybe you can give some context on the audience as well on like how you feel like that is connected towards customer satisfaction.
Well, let's put this at a specific situation just to explain the things a little better. So if you take a average order, the average order prep time would be 7 to 8 minutes optimal. So that in those 7 to 8 minutes, it is included that the picker has to go and get those products, pack them, issue an invoice, and get everything ready before the courier comes. Now, in those 7 to 8 minutes, a lot of things can happen, and they obviously do. So the biggest challenge inside the prep time period is not actually the wrongly packed items, it's the out of stock items. So then we come to the communication with the customer, and obviously those 7-8 minutes are no longer that specific time frame. They are 15 minutes, probably up to 15 minutes we go, because it's not such an issue to get in touch with the customer. It's proposing to the customer what alternative products could be adjacent for his order or hers. So the thing is, we need to find a way to bypass the direct communication and get a list of products that could be the alternative for the ones in the order, so we can stick to the prep time frame. Also, I mentioned the out of stock factor. It is really influential, and that also is something that we need to deal with because the databases of our stock needs to be absolutely correct. Also, this is how we view it. It's the stream. This is how we view the whole process. It's the streamline of data coming to the picker. So once the picker gets the order, the picker absolutely knows where their product is. It's just a problem when the picker comes to the location of the product and doesn't find it there. That's the factor that we have to deal with. So yeah, they're ideally 7 to 8 minutes. If we get into the communication with the customer, it's up to 15 minutes. And it's a really significant percentage of order cancellation once we get in contact with the customers. Because like I mentioned before, customer convenience. If you do not, if it doesn't work out as it's supposed to be planned, and you get obstacles along the way, then your will to get that order is dropping. So that will probably lead to order cancellation.
And how do you believe we can, like, you can avoid the order cancellations?
Diversifying the communication. So we believe that our pickers should not communicate with the customers anymore. We believe that there should be a notification, a system notification inside the platform from which we're getting the orders that is proposing to the customer a list of alternative products for that product that we currently don't have in stock, or maybe it's on special discount or something like that. Maybe they can add it as another one in their order. We believe that would be the best thing to do. But in order to achieve that, also the backend process is the optimizing the database.
Of course, yeah. Francisco, for you, like in Continente, so you've already implemented the solution already. Have you seen like any big difference in key metrics such as order accuracy, the time that pickers are taking to replace orders, or picker satisfaction, these type of metrics? Have you seen any improvements from your side?
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't measure all those dimensions, but I think we have some metrics that where we can that we can share that gives you an idea of the improvements that we are reaching. So that as I was saying, when we integrate all the channels that we have in just one platform, that significantly increased productivity of the stores. We decreased time to begin and execute tests, and that was something that we could measure. And I would say, and that is something that we get from the different conversations that we have with store operations, that the picker satisfaction improved as well. And beyond simplifying picking, that was something that I was mentioning in my previous answer. There was some features that InstaLeap developed together with us that were key in order to reach higher level of productivity. The first one is related to a topic that I mentioned in my previous answers, that is the automatic invoicing. So as I was telling you, we have manual invoicing processes, and this feature eliminates the need for manual invoicing. By the time of the picking finish event, information is sent to our invoicing system, and an invoice is printed in a selected POS, saving time in the process and improving operational efficiency. And the other one is related to the topic that Bosco was bringing. That is how can we manage out of stock situations, and we in this case Uber Eats developed a feature that makes it possible to the customer to decide whether how the store can manage a situation where that specific item is out of stock. And it presents to the customer two options. If it offers the possibility, when the item is out of stock, the picker can substitute that item for another item that may be selected from the list of items that we have in that range of the category to that particular store. And it is the picker who does its choice based on the rules that we share, the operation when we are training them to prepare Q-commerce orders, or the customer can specify the type of replacement product that he or she prefers. And this marked a significant shift in the user experience and helped us a lot reducing the stockouts that we were having. One thing very important to mention is that we have doubled the number of orders each year. So we really need to have like the right tools in order to help stores to achieve that level of productivity. And our statistics show that our incident rate is lower than 1% at the moment, which is really nice. And we measure this with metrics like substitutions that were wrongly done, articles that were not sent to our customers and should be sent because they were invoiced, and metrics like or bad products in our orders, and having 1% of complaints related to the orders that we are delivering. I believe it's a really good metric. And we have other metrics that further prove that we are giving a good service level to our customers. That is our conversion rate, depending on the partner that we are working with, but varies on the 35 to 40%, and our customer retention rate is approximately 70%. And apart from the operational or customer experience side, there is a crucial aspect for us that is important to mention. By using Instaleap, we were able to differentiate prices between our physical stores and Q-commerce apps, and this allowed us to reach significant improvement in our business profitability, which is very important for us in order to have the level of penetration of Q-commerce through the stores that we have available in Portugal.
Amazing. Thanks for the answer, Francisco. Super insightful, especially around like replacements, what you're mentioning, to have the customer already pre-select potential replacement options in a front-end solution. What we see at InSleep is both from a member experience perspective as well as an operational perspective. It can be the best method to manage replacements, right? Because what Bosco mentioned as well earlier,
exactly,
is like, hey, this way you don't need to have the pickers call a customer and do the communication. You have technology working for you in this sense, and automate it in this way.
For sure, because it increases having to talk with the clients, increases a lot the time of preparation. Once you ask the customer, you automatically need to wait for an answer. Otherwise, the customer insatisfaction will automatically increase, right? Well, you asked me, you didn't wait until I answered you, and it's a difficult balance to reach, right?
Exactly.
Just one more thing I would like to mention here is that what Francisco said is customer convenience is obviously a priority, but also picker convenience is also a priority, because happy customers depend on happy pickers, because those pickers are also frustrated because they're losing time communication there probably won't end in an order, and then they spent their time doing something that they won't have an efficient result. So we have to take a bigger focus, a deep focus to both sides.
I agree, and especially like in some countries where grocery retailers are active, pickers, they don't even speak the same language as the end customer, right? So in that sense, it's going to be even more difficult for pickers to communicate with an end customer in order to replace Optune. So yeah, I think we're all aligned on this point that we need to have the right tech in place in order to manage replacements in this way. Bosco, for you, like from your perspective, like in Serbia, like how do you currently evaluate return on investment when it comes to managing multiple marketplaces? And do you, for instance, have specific like metrics or financial impacts on top of mind right now when you want to implement like an aggregated platform for your operations?
Well, yes, but I can only speak for the company that I work for at this moment because other companies maybe have some other metrics. But this has been in the Q-commerce channels for quite some time, maybe a couple of years, and working with Glovo and Wolt separately means double statistics. And also we need to cross-check them and cross-check it again with our own internal statistics to get the adjacent ROI. So the first one is you can look from a advertising standpoint, what is the ROI, how much we invest in advertising across those platforms and how much orders do we get based on those special promotions. That's number one category. Number two category is also how many potential orders did we lose because of cancellations for numerous things. We also have some metrics that are based on filters like 3-minute cancellation, 15-minute cancellation, the customer canceled the order, out of stock, wrong item, wrongly packaged item, or something similar like that. So when you take that whole data as a bunch and put it into maybe one report, what we consider to be efficient is being above 40% of successfully replaced products. That's a successful return of invest for us. And achieving that KPI is very, very challenging because also the local market is an ecosystem of its own, and that also affects the ordering system. You mentioned, I'll just take this as an example, the language. Also, a lot of urban areas in Serbia are experiencing a lot of people coming from outside Serbia, and they also are a big part of the order population. And if you don't communicate with them in a proper way or proper language, you're going to get order cancellation. So some of these orders are just destined to be canceled, and that's something that really influences the KPI, especially in the capital of Serbia, Belgrade. And also, we value the time spent that our pickers spent time picking the order. That's one of the metrics. How efficient were we getting inside to the whole picking prep time frame. So if we are above 17% there, we're fine with it. So like I said, there's a lot of challenges. And 3 different metrics are not something that is probably the best idea to have. So moving to a unified platform, getting one metrics for each of those, and cross-checking with our own internal analytics will probably get a better picture and a better glimpse of what we are actually achieving in the market. From the beginning of 2024, I cannot say that we have a steep incline, but we definitely have a rise and growth in our profits concerning the Q-commerce channels. But this is something that we put in our strategy for the next year, that we want to get like a really steep incline. We want to get at least 50% steep incline. In order to get that, we need to address all of these before mentioned issues.
One question around that topic, Bosco. So you mentioned earlier, like having making sure that the pickers are efficient in your operations and that they hit like certain metrics in terms of items picked per picker per hour. Do you currently have a way to measure this and streamline that information towards store managers and to pickers and coach people accordingly, or how do you manage that right now in your
That's a very
operation?
good question. That's a very good question. The current analytics that we receive are directly from Glovo and Volt, and they also include a lot of other data. And one mentionable piece of data is store offline time, because we have situation that stores have technical issues or for some other reason they are offline from the platform. So we do take those two parameters into consideration, and we try to approach, because our situation is a little bit different from Francisco. We only have more than 50 stores, not 500. We try to approach each situation individually and to see what we can learn from it, and to see where was the mistake made. And also, if it's from a technical point of issue, we can learn definitely something. If it's a customer issue, we can definitely learn something. But everything that happens is an opportunity to educate ourselves and the pickers for future situations that will definitely come. And challenges will probably be even in bigger numbers and probably more diversified than now.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And thanks, Francisco, for you. Obviously, you guys already implemented an aggregated platform for all marketplaces and your own quick commerce channel. Do you feel like it has given you like a very good competitive advantage towards other grocery retailers in Portugal? I'm not sure if they are doing it manually or if they're using like solutions for that already, but do you feel like you because of the implementations that you've done, you can easily beat the competition in the online world, or no?
Well, I don't know it, but I can suspect that there are 2 or 3 big advantages that Instantly gave us on this, or having moved to an aggregated way of managing different marketplaces. I would say, first of all, the last topic that I covered in my previous answer, the profitability evidence, having the possibility of having differentiated pricing is very appealing to stores. They see the Q-commerce not only as a channel to increase their sales, but also to increase profitability in each sale. And that's a common pitch that we typically use in order to promote stores to introduce Q-commerce in their operations. The other one is having only one way to prepare the orders reduced a lot the process complexity. So a unified platform results in the reduction of operational management, and this leads to increased efficiency and reduced operational costs, because you can prepare faster and in a simpler way, I would say. And for us, business team, it's much more easy to train stores and operational teams to prepare these orders and to manage this new channel in the operation. So it makes it easier for the staff to quickly adapt and manage these operations. Bosco mentioned it previously. We now prepare per month, as you know, Bas, thousands and thousands of orders, and
Yeah.
only in a few stores we have dedicated people. So it is very demanding for the people that we have in the operations to having to deal with everything that they have, and we are adding extra work for them. So it's very important that the extra work that we are asking people to do should be very clean, very simpler, very clear what they have to do, and having to train them in just a single process is much easier to train and to accept than having to deal with multiple ways of dealing with marketplaces. So I would say that these three main factors helped us a lot scaling the business, and we moved from having 30 stores in 2020 to having over than 240 active stores across the territory, which is over than 90% of the country covered. So this helped us a lot in this expansion, and I would say that it is an advantage when we compare to competitors that have to manage marketplaces manually, I would say. And it helped us. I already said it before, but I think we are reaching benchmark operational KPIs. So and I think that having a tool that aggregates all of these features in just one space helped us a lot in this. And it helps us in order to have better customer experience and the retention levels that we are having at the moment is a result of that, I would say.
Amazing. Thanks for the context on that, guys. I would like to move a little bit towards the next topic because we've talked a lot about having a unified picking application, making sure that the pickers are well trained to use it, having a unified process for pickers and store managers. I think one of the other important things as well is like making data-driven decisions as grocery retailers, right? So, Bosco, for you in your operation or with your e-commerce teams, like how do you guys currently track all of the data from like the different platforms that you're using, and how are you making like data-driven decisions based around that?
Well, analytics are always a great topic to talk about. So we have separate managers portals from Glovo and from Wolt. So those are specified platforms from both companies that we have access to, and we can trace each store in real time to see all of the analytics, how much time they have spent offline each day, every week, every month for the past 12 months, maybe even more, to see all of the orders that were canceled, the reason of cancellation, the potential loss that we have, and the current orders that they have at the moment, and what is the status on those. Also, we are trying to get even detailed analytics, and we think that also having a unified platform that provides us the insight into the order item per item would be even better, because we will learn more about our customers and their behavior, and we will learn more about their decisions on actually about the reasons why they made that specific decision to pick that item, actually to buy that, to order that item. So at this moment, we solely rely on Glovo and Wolt and access to their portals, which are pretty fine, but they're not always accurate. I have to say that, because we did have in maybe 20% of the cases, we have an issue that those data do not coincide with the real-time situation. For instance, we have a store that is offline, that is not on the platform, and our customers cannot place an order, and that's an information we get through the portal, but on site everything is fine. So having a unified platform that tracks all of the data in one place is a good opportunity for us. So how do we make decisions based on that? Obviously, a store that is reaching operational KPIs, that is doing fine, is a lesser priority at that very moment, and we will always focus on those ones that need to be on that same level. At the same time, we also have to worry about the whole strategic view of the whole situation, how we're going to do business in Q-commerce and get all of the store population together on that future same level. And those decisions are based on analytics we already talked about. So a lot of the orders that need to be replaced, the order cancellations, why were they canceled, how much prep time did we lose, to put it that way. So why did we breach the time frame, and what were the reasons for it? Do we have the right reasons for it at all? And how we're going to position ourselves to situations that are going to come in the future and going to be similar to those and maybe even different. So that's something that we're doing at the moment. And at the moment, we're doing the integration of InstaLeap for global services for all of our stores, and we can get a glimpse of how a unified platform can look like. Just because we still don't have Vault in the same story, that doesn't mean that we can see how a unified analytics can work. We can trace that order to see what is the picker doing, for which specific product are they picking, and also we would like to see that potential of pickers going through the stores and finding the best shortened route to optimize the time frame. And that's something that platform offers. And that's something that not only the management will have an insight, it's the store managers as well. So we all can get the information in real time, and also save time on the communication between ourselves. Time is a really crucial factor for all of us, and mostly for customers. But then the time spent in communication between ourselves.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said like having all of the data from all of the different platforms in a live way displayed in one unified platform can be a game changer, right? Because especially like as a store manager or people in the operations, when you have to juggle around like different like places to get your data from, usually it gets pretty messy. So something that we've seen with our current customers is to have one unified place where you can get in contact with the customer, you can get in contact with the picker, you can get in contact with the driver, and in one unified way could be like a great help for operational people. For you, Francisco, obviously you've already did the move from having the data placed in different platforms, having them in one unified solution for all of your colleagues in Continente. How do you feel like that has impacted your operations and your decision making internally?
Okay, so you guys mentioned there are some metrics that are very important to control. I would say that we are the work here is far from being done. There are some things that we continue to measure that are partner specific, and let's say it like this, like controlling downtimes, even if some cancellations, we continue to look at them on a weekly basis, and we measure them through our. But I can think about an example where data from a unified platform was crucial to improve decision making or accelerate change. That is the fulfillment rate, and there was a clear improvement on this. Fulfillment rate has been our focus in the last months, because if if a stock out during an online shopping mission is bad, we believe that during an urgent or unplanned shopping mission that is typically served through Q-commerce, we believe that it generates enormous frustration. And with InstaLeap, we were able to follow these metrics on a weekly basis via reporting, or even in real time in the control tower, and this was really a game changer for us Q-commerce team, and even for store managers who get the report of stockouts in their shelves on a real time data. So relying on these data insights, store managers were able to improve their processes when we are talking about picking, replenishments, and even to find out some errors that were present on our databases, some stocks that were wrongly introduced, some units that were ghosts in our systems, and made it available in the Q-commerce because we were reading them in our databases, but the item was not physically there. And with this real-time control of the stockouts, they were able to hard code the system and introduce the stock out and correct like ghost units from a particular item. And this continuous, it was like a continuous improvement work, and we are far from having the job done here. We focused our attention on the top 10 stores in terms of order preparation volume. We started this work in the beginning of the year, and we saw a drop of 45% in our stock, which is it makes us very proud. And since we are responsible for the picking in our stores, these improvements in stock out control in Q-commerce obviously have positive externalities on in-store sales and customer experience, because it reduces stock outs on the shelves. And for example, if you are talking about bakery, there are some stores that change their plan of preparing some hot bread in the certain hours because of Q-commerce as well. So this work that we are doing here multiplies the impact to the whole company, and not only for the Q-commerce channel itself.
Great, thanks for your insights on this topic, Francisco. Super valuable, guys. I'm just having a look to the time. I see we're already getting very close to like the end. So I want to ask like one last question to both of you, to the people that are in the audience today. And the main question that I still have left is like, which advice would you give to all of the other grocery retailers that are listening in and tuning in today, that are struggling with managing multiple marketplaces, or even the ones that are thinking of adding multiple like marketplaces towards their e-grocery operations? Bosco, let's start with you on this one.
Well, mine will be really brief. That's keep it simple as much as you can, and always try to adapt to the whole industry trend thing, because having different services available to everybody is just going to produce more and more challenges. And that's why having a unified platform is the most simplest solution that you can do. But also keeping up with the industry trends and trying to be adaptive to them is a challenge of its own. So my basic solution and advice to everybody else is Just be alert and try to keep it simple. Don't complicate things too much. That's it.
Love it. Don't overcomplicate stuff. Make it easy
Yeah.
for everyone in the operation. Great. How about you, Francisco?
Well, first, I would say treat Q-commerce as a sales channel with significant growth potential. At least it's what we are seeing here in Portugal. And to fully unlock this potential, it requires dedicated resources. We already mentioned it before, right, Moscow? This means allocating people both in the business side as well as in the store operational teams that are the ones who prepares the order and guarantees that the job will be done. The second advice I would say, consider ways to reduce complexity of managing these multiple partnerships, and to achieve this, centralize as much as possible. And that will be it.
I like it. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Let's move on with the last part, or maybe even like the most exciting part of today, which is the questions from the people in the audience. I did see some questions coming through. So I'm gonna ask the team to quickly go towards the next slide in order to present the questions, and then we can have them answered by our experts today. Cool. I think one of the questions that I saw coming in from Anthony was, when it comes to replacing products and the way of communicating with the clients is through WhatsApp, or is it only through notifications? Example, you don't have a chocolate bar and you want to replace it. Would you be able to offer alternative to clients through the app? And do they receive a notification? I think for you, Francisco, I can pass this one to you, and maybe you can give some context to Anthony on how you were managing this use case.
Okay, in this use case, as I explained before, what we are doing is in Sleep integrated the out of item feature that Uber Eats developed in this case, and we know that Glovo is preparing a feature similar to this one in order to help us manage the substitutions on our side. The client, when is placing the order, has the possibility to choose the way and that the partner will follow in order to react in the case that that item is out of stock. So the customer can choose whether the store or the picker can substitute with the criteria that he found that is the best alternative solution to that out of stock situation, or the customer can point which is the preference in the case that that item is out of stock, which is his preference. Or if on that case, if he doesn't want any substitution at all. So there is no communication when the picker is preparing the order. There is no communication between the picker and the customer, because it was all pre-selected when the customer placed the order. And that is something that we want to keep it as like this, because as I was telling before, if we are texting the client, we are increasing the complexity of preparing the order. The time of picking will increase. Maybe we will increase our order pipeline because we will be waiting for an answer from the client. We understand that in terms of customer experience, it would be great, that we could establish these conversations with the clients. What we do is when we have the time to call the client, if we are talking about, well, we are preparing orders in the middle of the morning or in the middle of the afternoon, apart from the peak hours that typically are in lunchtime or in the end of the day between 5 and 9 o'clock p.m. On those periods where we have time to prepare orders and where we don't rush. On those situations, some stores call the partner, Glove or Uber, in order to ask the client if he wants a specific substitution. But there is no direct communication between the picker and the customer itself.
Thank you, Francisco. And just to quickly add on top of this from like an Instaleap perspective, we can use the model that Francisco is explaining here with Continente. But in case you do want to have live communication with the customer through, for instance, WhatsApp or through a live status widget in order to have the picker communicate with the customer in your front end, this is feasible as well. So it highly depends on, you know, like the use case, and maybe it even depends as well on like your operating model, where you're focusing more on next day deliveries or express deliveries. But I think it's good to mention that from like an Instaleap perspective, we cover multiple like use cases here in terms of replacements. Cool, Bosco. Do you want to quickly like provide your answer as well on the replacement thing and how you're doing this in your operation?
Well, it's an opposite situation for us at this moment because we do have to communicate with the customer via telephone. But yes, we also have an option to communicate via WhatsApp over Instaleap, and that's only specifically for global services. When we have for Volt, we communicate via phone, so that obviously takes a lot of time and is a challenge that needs to be addressed. But hopefully, unifying those two services into a single platform and finding a way to get a list of products as a notification straight to the customer would solve that issue at this point.
Amazing. Thanks, guys. I see we're already a couple of minutes over time. I want to make sure we respect everyone's time. So this was the end of today's webinar. I want to thank especially Bosco and Francisco for your time today. It was super nice to have this conversation today, and I hope that the audience enjoyed it as much as I did. As a reminder for everyone, at Instaleap, we're offering consultancy sessions in order to evaluate your e-grocery operations. So what you can do here is scan the QR code or use the link in order to schedule a call with one of the experts at Instaleap. Once again, Bosco, Francisco, thanks a lot, and catch you guys soon.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bye-bye.
Thank you.